Hey, this is Daniel with the Nostril, and today I want to talk about a unique and wonderful fragrance from L'Artisan Parfumeur. This is Mandarina Corsica. This is a relatively recent release from the house. It is a warm, sweet mandarin orange scent that really took me by surprise when I smelled it. So if you want to know a little bit more about the note breakdown, what I think of the fragrance, and what situations it's going to be right to wear this fragrance in, stay tuned. We're going to talk about it today. So that's right. Today we're going to talk about a fragrance from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur, Mandarina Corsica. Mandarina Corsica, look at this bottle. I love the design of the label right here. I don't know if you can get a close-up right there. Oh, that's upside down, isn't it? There, Mandarina Corsica is right there. It's an eau de parfum, and it's designed by Quentin Bisch, who's a relatively young perfumer, I believe. I believe he was featured in a documentary about perfume a few years ago, and he's gone on to do some pretty interesting things. This, I think, is one of his most interesting creations. I think it's his only collaboration with L'Artisan Parfumeur so far, but if this is any indication, I hope he does some more work with them. So let me just spray it on, and I'll tell you a little bit about what it smells like. The sprayer is pretty good. This is the first new style bottle from L'Artisan Parfumeur that I've received. The kind of tinted glass bottle. The older bottles were clear and had more color to the golden cap, and usually kind of more bright colors on the labels. But the sprayer is an improvement over the old ones for sure. Let me see if you can see this. Really wide spray. Sprays quite a bit. All right, so right off the top, there is an intense, sweet mandarin orange note. It's lovely. It's so well blended, and you can immediately start to pick up the sweetness that is going to kind of take over the fragrance as the scent continues to develop. The notes of sweetness are a particular kind of sweetness. It's caramel with a supporting kind of herbal note coming from Immortelle, which itself, if you've ever smelled Immortelle by itself, does kind of have a sweet caramel vibe to it already. And so it also smells like there's some ethyl maltol in here, which is a synthetic aroma chemical that really kind of bolsters sweetness in scents. You'll often find it mixed with patchouli. Because patchouli by itself can be a little bit harsh and a little bit unforgiving to the nose, but oftentimes in the most well-known patchouli scents, certainly Angel and Amen as well, by Terry Mugler. That's a patchouli scent that is heavily supported by ethyl maltol. And while there's no patchouli in Mandarina Corsica per se, you can definitely tell they're using ethyl maltol to bolster the sweetness up. It works really well. So about a minute or two into the scent, that orange note, the brightness of the orange note at first has started to move to the background a little bit, and the caramel note supported by Immortelle is coming out as well. There's also the slightest hint of vanilla and cinnamon that begins to poke its head out around this time too. And those notes are going to become more prominent as you wear the fragrance. The mandarin note surprisingly sticks around, although it doesn't become, while at first it is the star of the show, it's not always going to be that way. It's going to become a supporting note within the first half hour of the fragrance. But it's always there, which I really like. Citrus notes, of course, are infamously not long-lasting. You know, they're very volatile compounds, and so when you add them to fragrances, oftentimes they're the first smells to burn off and kind of fade into the background. And while that happens a little bit here, the way that the citrus interacts with the sweet notes, the caramel, the vanilla, the ethyl maltol, it sticks around, which is really nice. The spice profile here is pretty minimal. I would not call this a spicy scent, but it's there. It's there to round out the sweetness of the caramel, to kind of give it a little bit more flavor and a little bit more character. And it supports that mandarin note pretty well. It ends up making this a surprisingly gourmand uh, citrus fragrance, and one that I'm not sure is particularly appropriate for really hot weather because it's so sweet. Now, it's not a beast mode fragrance by any means. It has reasonable performance. The longevity is quite good, and I think the projection is about average, maybe slightly above average for a fragrance like this. It certainly isn't, in the leagues of Parfum de Marly or Nichonnet or Initio in terms of the way it projects. But I don't really expect L'Artisan Parfumeur scents to project in that massive way anyway. I don't really feel like fragrances like this would benefit from that kind of massive projection. This is best when it's picked up just subtly in the air when you're walking by. You can go relatively heavy on sprays with this. I'd say you can go 4 sprays with this in weather that's, below 25 degrees Celsius, 75 Fahrenheit or so. I think it's going to be appropriate to wear. You can probably pull it off in the summer too, to be honest, but go a little bit lighter. Catching that sweet orange on the wind, I think it's going to be nice all year round. Just be careful because the sweetness will overwhelm in the summer months. This is a total win for L'Artisan Parfumeur and for Quentin Bisch, if you ask me. It's accessible, but it's not generic in any way. It really is trying to do something new with citrus and caramel. It has a bit of that holiday Christmas vibe, if you ask me. Not too much, because it is a pretty versatile scent. It's not just a holiday season scent, for sure. But it has a little bit of that going on, which will make it really nice to wear around the holidays. Like all L'Artisan Parfumeur scents that are in this new line, the bottle feels really nice in the hand. It's hefty, it's heavy. The cap is well weighted. It is kind of a plastic. Oh no, actually, it's cool enough. Maybe it's metal. I think it might be a metal cap. Maybe plasticized metal of some kind, but it does have a nice heft to it. The bottle itself feels, the corners are slightly rounded, so they aren't sharp in your hand. And the presentation, I just think, is gorgeous. They really did a good job with this series. This is one in a series that is trying to represent the feelings from, or the vibes from, different areas of France, I believe, and so Mandarina, Corsica, of course. And I love the design of all the bottles in this series. This is the only one I own, but if you check it out on Fragrantica, you'll see the bottles. They're all really nice. I would highly recommend sampling this, at least. The price wise, this is I got this for not a bad price. I think I paid $70 for this for a 100 milliliter size bottle. Pretty reasonable. I mean, it's certainly less expensive than the more hard to find or maybe hyped fragrances by L'Artisan Parfumeur, like Timbuktu. Timbuktu's price it fluctuates. I got my bottle for $50, but I see it going as much as $120 for a 1.7 ounce right now. But this $70 for this, absolutely, that's a win. In terms of the situations where I see this working, I already mentioned that I think this is a relatively versatile scent. Spring, fall, winter, and even cool days in summer. It's maybe a little bit too gourmandy for work. I'm not sure I'd want to wear this to the office to smell like a sweet caramelized orange. Depends on your workplace for sure. But absolutely casual, certain semi-formal occasions, yeah, absolutely this is going to work. Holiday gatherings, parties around, in the fall and winter, absolutely that's going to work. Hanging out with friends, absolutely. Going for a hike in the woods, yeah, in the autumn if you go for a hike in the woods and you just catch whiffs of that Immortelle caramel and vanilla cinnamon orange on the wind, it's going to be really nice. So this comes highly recommended from me. I'm really impressed with this. This is a fantastic offering from L'Artisan Parfumeur. Worth at least a sample for sure. I blind buy a lot of bottles, but I don't recommend that you do that unless you are really into collecting fragrances as a major hobby of yours, and or you're confident that you're going to be able to sell it if you don't like it. If you do blind buy fragrances, I think this is a pretty safe one. I blind bought it. I'm pretty happy. But you're going to, obviously, if you don't like sweet gourmand fragrances with citrus notes in them, maybe don't blind buy it. But if the note profile sounds up your alley, this is pretty safe. It's really likable while not being generic or boring or safe in any way. I think this is a high quality offering from L'Artisan Parfumeur. If you folks have any questions about the scent that I didn't answer in this video, please feel free to comment below. If you haven't subscribed or liked the channel yet, please do so you can get notifications of when there's new reviews up on the channel. And if you want to read the text review, it should be up on thenostril.com pretty soon. Thanks for listening. Take care. And if you do get a sample of Mandarina Corsica by L'Artisan Parfumeur, I hope you enjoy it. Cheers.